Windows 11. Well, Windows 10 was showing an ominous "your computer is no longer supported" message. And while it was asking her to upgrade to Windows 11, as soon as you tried to do that, it showed as not being compatible.
This is what happened when Microsoft released Windows 11 and millions of users discovered they couldn't escape the company's ecosystem even if they wanted to. Windows 11 launched on October 5th, 2021, and within months people began realizing that Microsoft had fundamentally changed the relationship between a person and their computer, the hardware trap that made computers obsolete.
Oh no, Microsoft added a new hardware requirement, and this time you can't bypass it. Before you get out your pitchforks though, this is not actually a big deal, and it's only for really old CPUs, much older than the previous hardware requirements that people were getting upset about a few years ago.
The hardware requirements delivered the first shock. Windows 11 demands a TPM 2.0 chip, a security module that became standard in consumer computers around 2016, and Microsoft's own compatibility checker showed that over half of existing PCs couldn't upgrade because they lacked this chip or ran processors deemed too old. Computers from 2017 and earlier, even high-end models, suddenly became obsolete in Microsoft's eyes. The requirement affects 8th generation Intel Core processors, or newer, and AMD Ryzen 2000 series, or newer, which means if your computer was manufactured before approximately 2018, Microsoft decided it wasn't good enough for Windows 11 regardless of how well it actually performed. Windows 10 support ends on October 14th, 2025, and that deadline created an immediate problem because users with perfectly functional computers now face a choice between buying new hardware or running an unsupported operating system that won't receive security updates. Microsoft announced an extended security updates program in October 2024 that costs $30 for the first year and provides security patches through October 2028, but the price increases each subsequent year, and it doesn't include feature updates or technical support. Microsoft accounts became mandatory, and that represented the second major change. Windows 11. Home Edition requires a Microsoft account to complete installation, a requirement that existed since launch in October 2021. And there's no official option to create a local account during setup. Windows 11. Pro Edition initially allowed local accounts, but Microsoft removed this option in version 22H2, released in September 2022. And the company's official position now states that an internet connection and Microsoft account are required for setup. Workarounds exist, including a command line method using OOBE BYPass NRO during installation or disconnecting from the internet during setup. But these methods aren't officially supported, and Microsoft has systematically patched several of them in subsequent updates. Tech publications document these workarounds, though they require technical knowledge that average users don't possess, which means for most people, using Windows 11 means creating a Microsoft account and keeping it active, tying their computer access to an online identity controlled by Microsoft. The ecosystem lock-in, built into every feature. The Microsoft account requirement connects directly to the ecosystem lock-in that defines Windows 11. OneDrive Cloud Storage integrates deeply into File Explorer, and the operating system actively encourages users to sync their desktop and documents folders to Microsoft's cloud servers, while Microsoft Edge gets set as the default browser. Changing the default requires navigating through multiple settings that reset after major updates. And the Start menu shows recommended apps that are promotional suggestions from Microsoft. File Explorer displays OneDrive advertisements and prompts. The Settings app contains Microsoft 365 promotional content. The lock screen shows tips and suggestions that function as advertisements. And the Widgets panel includes news and sponsored content. Microsoft calls these recommendations and suggestions rather than advertisements, and most can be disabled through various settings. But many users report these promotional elements reappearing after major Windows updates. The presence of advertising in an operating system that comes pre-installed on computers costing hundreds or thousands of dollars has generated substantial criticism from users who feel they're being marketed to after already paying for the product. Telemetry and data collection represent another layer of ecosystem control. Windows 11 collects what Microsoft calls required diagnostic data, which includes device and configuration information, software and application usage, performance and reliability data, network and connectivity information, and error reporting and diagnostics. And this level of data collection cannot be disabled on Windows 11 Home or Pro editions. Only Enterprise and Education editions can set telemetry to a minimum security level, and Microsoft's privacy documentation states this data is used to improve Windows and fix problems, while the company claims data is anonymized and aggregated, but users have no ability to completely opt out on consumer editions. Update behavior in Windows 11 has generated considerable frustration because Windows 11 Home cannot indefinitely defer feature updates. An active hours setting exists to prevent restarts. During specified times, yet numerous users on Reddit's Windows 11 community and Microsoft's own support forums report updates installing and restarting computers outside these designated hours. Windows Update can initiate restarts if an update has been pending for too long, even during times when the computer is actively being used, and specific documented problems include Update KB5012643 from April 2022, causing performance issues for users with certain hardware configurations, various updates breaking printer drivers, as documented in Microsoft support forums, and gaming performance issues reported after certain updates by PC gaming publications. The recall controversy that revealed Microsoft's intentions.
We are evolving the OS. Windows is now your canvas for AI and agents. We're innovating in 3 key ways. First, bringing AI and agents into your flow and making it more intuitive to use. And second, making Microsoft 365 Copilot more contextually helpful on Windows. And third, making Copilot Plus PCs even more powerful with enhanced AI.
The recall feature controversy demonstrated how far Microsoft was willing to push data collection, and the timeline reveals just how poorly conceived the feature was. Announced on May 20th, 2024 at Microsoft's Build conference, Recall was designed to take screenshots of user activity every few seconds and create a searchable database of everything a user sees on their screen, using AI to analyze these screenshots and allow users to search their activity history using natural language. Security researcher Kevin Beaumont demonstrated in June 2024 that the Recall database could be accessed by malware, and the screenshots were initially stored in an unencrypted format that any application with user-level permissions could read. Privacy advocates called it spyware, and cybersecurity professionals warned that it created a comprehensive surveillance database of everything users did on their computers, including sensitive information like banking credentials, medical records, and private communications, all stored in a format that malware could easily steal. Microsoft delayed the rollout on June 13, 2024, and made several changes, including making Recall opt-in rather than opt-out and adding encryption and Windows Hello authentication requirements. As of January 2026, Recall is available in preview form only on Copilot Plus PCS that have specific neural processing unit hardware, and it remains opt-in. But the controversy revealed Microsoft's willingness to implement pervasive monitoring features without adequate security considerations. Copilot represents Microsoft's ongoing integration of AI into Windows, and starting in September 2023, Microsoft integrated Copilot into Windows 11 through updates by placing an AI assistant directly in the taskbar. Copilot processes user queries and data, and while it can be disabled through settings, it cannot be fully uninstalled using standard Windows interfaces, while the privacy policy indicates that data is used to improve Microsoft services. The feature uses system resources and internet connectivity continuously when active, which means users who want nothing to do with AI assistance find themselves with software they cannot fully remove from their operating system. The combined effect of these changes is that users feel trapped, and the adoption statistics tell that story clearly. Windows 11. Adoption statistics from StatCounter Global Stats show that as of December 2025, Windows 11 holds 34.9% of the Windows market, while Windows 10 maintains 61.8%. And this represents significantly slower adoption compared to Windows 10's uptake during its first 4 years. Users are resisting the upgrade and staying on Windows 10 despite its approaching end of support date because they prefer an older operating system to the restrictions and ecosystem lock-in of Windows 11.
Microsoft might be bleeding Windows customers faster than any of us imagined. There's been no shortage of controversies surrounding the not-door operating system, spyware, ads, bad updates, and the like, and while there's been a vocal opposition complaining about these things, the operating system percentages have mostly stayed the same.
Gaming on Linux has also grown with Steam's hardware survey, showing Linux usage increasing from 1.0% in 2021 to approximately 1.9% in December 2025. And Valve's Steam Deck, which runs a Linux-based operating system and has sold over 3 million units as of late 2024, demonstrated that Linux gaming is viable for mainstream users. Apple's macOS represents another alternative that doesn't impose the same restrictions. Because macOS does not require an Apple ID for installation or use, local accounts remain fully available, and updates do not force restarts during active use. For users willing to invest in Apple hardware, macOS offers an escape from Microsoft's ecosystem control, though at a significantly higher upfront cost. The regulatory scrutiny that hasn't materialized, the European Union designated Microsoft as a gatekeeper under the Digital Markets Act in 2023, which subjects the company to increased scrutiny regarding anti-competitive practices. But as of January 2026, no formal GDPR investigation specifically targeting Windows 11's data collection practices has been publicly announced. The United States has not initiated federal antitrust action specifically regarding Windows 11, though general scrutiny of large technology companies continues. Microsoft's position on these issues has remained consistent throughout all the criticism. The company states that TPM 2.0 requirements improve security and protect against firmware attacks. Microsoft claims that mandatory Microsoft accounts enable cloud features, synchronization, and account recovery that improve the user experience. The company maintains that telemetry data collection is necessary to improve Windows and identify problems. And Microsoft describes the promotional content in Windows as helpful recommendations rather than advertising. Users who object to these positions have limited recourse, and the options aren't great. They can delay upgrading to Windows 11 and pay for extended security updates. To keep Windows 10 functional through 2028, they can learn technical workarounds to bypass Microsoft account requirements and disable telemetry. Though these workarounds are not officially supported and may break with future updates, they can switch to Linux or macOS if they're willing to adapt to different operating systems and potentially different software. Or they can accept Windows 11's requirements and integrate themselves more deeply into Microsoft's ecosystem. The grip tightens. The fundamental issue is that Microsoft has shifted from providing an operating system as a product to providing an operating system as a gateway to services. Windows 11 is designed to connect users to OneDrive, Microsoft 365, Microsoft Edge, the Microsoft Store, and the growing array of Microsoft cloud services. And the operating system itself has become less important than the ecosystem it connects to. While Microsoft's design decisions prioritize ecosystem integration over user choice and control. For decades, Windows allowed users to operate their computers as isolated tools that did exactly what users told them to do and nothing more. And Windows 11 represents a different philosophy where the operating system has its own agenda involving cloud connectivity, data collection, account requirements, and promotional content that serves Microsoft's business interests. Users who preferred the old relationship between person and computer find themselves with diminishing options as Windows 10 support ends and Windows 11 becomes the only officially supported Microsoft operating system for consumers. This is what happens when a company with 72% market share in desktop operating systems decides that user autonomy matters less than ecosystem integration. Microsoft can impose these requirements because for most users, the alternatives involve either significant learning curves, hardware investments, or acceptance of reduced software compatibility, and the grip is real. For hundreds of millions of Windows users, escape requires sacrifices most are unwilling or unable to make.